I'm Capri, and welcome to We the GamerCast. It publishes on podcasts at youtube.com/UBCapri every single Monday. Patrons get it first. Thank you for subscribing, hitting the like button, leaving a comment, and whatever else you do. For telling your mom, for telling your dad, for telling your cousin who... Do you like your cousin? Why do you hang out with your cousin? Are you guys good? Are you just, is it a family thing? You're kind of like, well, I guess he isn't going anywhere. Is that your relationship with your cousin? I want to know. Leave your comments below. Thank you guys so much for being here. Another sweet hang coming in with a stranger from the internet. What am I doing, man? I'm way out of practice. If you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have sweet hangs with a stranger from the internet. We talk about life and video games. And if you want to be on the show, it's easy. Just tweet at me at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. I'm a little thrown off for two reasons. Number one, as you guys know, if you've been here a while and you were expecting a show last week, you're like, what the heck? It's just like crickets up in here. There's nothing. There was no show last week. It's not very often, and I don't like doing it, but it was necessary last week. I was throwing up a lot last week, man. I was not doing so good. This household got hit with a bit of a stomach bug. First it was the kids throwing up all over me, throwing up all over their bed, throwing up all over Chelsea. There was puke everywhere, and then it hit me. And it was kind of like midstream. I feel like I knew it was happening. I was streaming on the Thursday night. I was playing some of the new Mario Kart tracks, and I was like, I think something's happening to me. I think something's wrong. And sure enough, Friday morning, I was just completely knocked off my butt. And all weekend, man. And so I apologize, guys. I missed last weekend. I don't want to gross you out with too many more details than that, but that's probably enough. Spent a good amount of time praying to the porcelain gods. And I didn't even back in the day, you just maybe had a good Friday or Saturday night. This was nothing. It was like I shared I wasn't thinking, you guys. I knew my little guy was sick. Lincoln was my son. He'll be 5, which is crazy. Lincoln will be 5 very soon, a couple weeks here. And he wasn't feeling good. And Chelsea's mom brought over some popsicles to help him out. And he took a couple bites, couple licks, I guess, of the popsicle. And he's like, I don't think I want this. And my dad instinct kicked in. I'm like, well, I guess I'll eat it. I'll just eat the leftovers. I took one bite of that thing. I'm like, what am I doing? Am I some sort of dumb idiot? And the answer is yes. And that's probably what did it. Either that or all the throw up on me. It's not like we quarantined these kids and didn't see them. Like, we were around them. It was bound to happen. So it swept through the house like a son of a gun. And didn't even get a benefit of weight loss or anything, man. What the heck? Got a wicked multi-day stomach bug. Didn't even I'm the same, if not more. But with that said, the other reason I'm a little discombobulated has nothing to do with that, actually. I'm recording this on Sunday night, and Will Smith just slapped Chris Rock. And goodness gracious. It's so fresh that I don't even know what to say about it. But Twitter is exploding. And I guess we'll watch how this one plays out, man. We just watched an assault all happen on, most of us on the internet, let's be honest. Nobody's actually watching this thing. But anyways, I don't want to get thrown off by that because there's good stuff happening. A great conversation with Riley Little from Walmart Canada Gaming, I should say. And we'll get to that in just a second. But before we do, there are damn near, we're coming up on 80 patrons over there at patreon.com/YumiCapri. And I want to quickly thank Nagachaka for joining the crew, man. Thanks for signing up. You're going to enjoy some sweet exclusive content over there at the $3 plus tier, along with many others. And I want to quickly say a special thank you to our Capremium producers like Dallas Ford, Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. You can join me and the rest of the Phoenix Overdrive at extra-life.org and raise money for those kids. Johnathan Brown, the man behind the music on the Xbox Drive and the Nintendo Drive. You can download his latest album, In My Element, on Spotify and Apple Music. The wonderful platinum producers, Robbie Bobby Miller and Trucker Sloth. And our gold members, Argo, Brendan Myers, Dallas Robbins, Dano, Emily O'Kelly, Foolish Fuji, Jose Jimenez, Mac Time, Marcus O'Neill, Mr. and Mrs. Nasty Boots, RJ Kern, Skinny Matt, Tony Baker, and Xavier Reyes. If you guys want to be one of those wonderful people, go to patreon.com/YumiCapri. By the way, speaking of Patreon, and speaking of Yumi Capri Day coming up on April 15th, you guys, we're going to have so much to talk about. So many new things to tell you, so many announcements, so many enhancements, so many things to get excited about. We did it last year, April 15th. April 15th. April 14th is my son's birthday, so it's the day after that. So I'm in the clear. There's lots happening, man. April 15th is You Me Capri Day. We'll be streaming all day, youtube.com/YouMeCapri. Make sure you're subscribed over there and jump into the Discord. All the links are here, guys. There's so much. The show notes for this, the description for this show, they're the best ones. I'm telling you guys, everything you need to know, where to follow us, where to jump in and be part of the crew and have fun and talk to people. It's really great. And speaking of having fun and talking to people, the Backtrackers is a community-driven video game book club that I want to tell you guys about. They just wrapped up their chat about Undertale. That was the last game that they all played, and they hung out over the weekend and had a good chat about that one. There's the next game. If you missed it and you want to be part of like a book club, it's kind of like a book club. You know how these things go. You play a game. The next game is Paradise Killer. It's a detective story told as an open world adventure. It's about 12 hours long. You can get it on Game Pass. And the next meeting to discuss Paradise Killer is on that wonderful week, April 16th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And they just fire up a little chat in the Discord. People jump on and they talk about the game, and it's a sweet hang. And if you want to just like hang out with friends and put some faces to the names that you guys see in the Discord, it's a very cool thing. Totally community driven. Thank you to Marcus and Delroy for continuing to put that on. I got to jump in one of these times. I think I'm going to be, that's going to be a busy week, man. I got to say, the 15th, You Me Capri Day, the 14th, Lincoln's birthday. And the week before that, I'm going to go to Married to the Games 500, MTTG 500, episode 500. They do a live thing in Franklin, Tennessee. I got all my stuff booked, and I'm so freaking excited. So I've got that coming up. I'm going to be in Vancouver at the beginning of May. Like, travel is coming back, my friends, and it's all good. I think one of the last things that I want to tell you guys about, if you haven't heard already, I played a PlayStation game. I play lots of games. I played the PlayStation game, the one that you might have heard about, called Horizon Forbidden West. And thanks to our friends at PlayStation Canada for that. I did a review with Matt Sawinski from the PlayStation Drive. You guys should go check out that episode. YouTube.com/YouMeCapri, or you can download the episode on the podcast feed if you haven't already. And with that, I think that's it. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about the end. There's some other stuff that happened, but not really related to any of this stuff. Taylor Hawkins, drummer from Foo Fighter. There's also a clip from Josh Stapleton, featuring Bobby Pauls, of course, that we're going to be featuring at the end of this episode. So stick around all the way to the end. There's some cool stuff happening after my conversation with Riley Little. But in case you guys didn't know, Riley Little, wonderful person. Walmart Canada Gaming. You can follow Riley at the Riley Little. Why don't we have a quick chat with him, with Riley Little? So, well, let me go to the job then. Like, how did you become the Walmart guy? Like, how are you there? And then I want to kind of like dive into that. Are you okay to chat about work?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I can talk about it. Geez. So I guess I kind of fell into it by accident. So I run the Walmart Canada Gaming social page.
Yeah.
But I initially was a writer for Screen Rant and some other websites. So I was an editor at Screen Rant for years, and I was I basically helped build Game Rant when I was in high school, which took off and did its own thing. But so I've always been around, and an opportunity came up for Walmart Canada was launching a website, which was like a gaming blog, which we wanted to create news for and stuff like that. And I had the background of doing that, but I also had the background of running the Game Rant social media accounts. So eventually you start writing for this website, and then which Paul Hunter, who still contributes to Walmart now, offered me that job, and then offered me the social media position. So I started doing that, and the social media was doing really well.
And had you known like Paul through just sort of like the Toronto gaming scene kind of thing?
I couldn't even tell you exactly when we met, but he was launching that, and he reached out to me actually and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this. Like, would you be interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think that sounds interesting." So actually, I took that gig and I started doing that, and then we got a few months into it, and Walmart decided that, hey, you know what? We don't think it's working for us. We're going to pull the plug. So they pulled the plug on it, and then I was like, okay, so I'm not sure what I'll do now. But then they're like, well, actually, there's an opening on the Walmart Canada Gaming Twitter handle. You did really well with Switched On Gamer, which was their initiative. Would you like to try? And I was like, sure. But when I did it, I kind of was like, I need to do it my way a bit, or else like it won't be interesting. People won't care. So
how does that kind of conversation go, or even just like process go when you're dealing? Like Walmart is enormous. Like it doesn't really seem like the type to just do whatever you want. It seems like a big juggernaut to deal with.
Well, I think I was very fortunate because like right away they saw what I was doing with the Switched On Gamer stuff, and it was a little different. And they thought, you know what, this guy's good. I think he can do it for us. And I ran a few things by them, obviously. I wasn't just like, no, I need full control. Like,
of course,
not a creative psycho or something like that. But
they didn't really have like a preconceived notion of like what that should be, or like it just seems like it had an opportunity, and maybe you've helped them avoid this, like of it being super corporate, you know?
Yeah. No, definitely super corporate, and a lot of like tape, like red tape and stuff like that that you have to like work around. But I would say like initially it was just like very much like, here's the account, Riley. We have obligations to partners.
Okay.
Outside of that, if like we trust you to be creative, and to be honest, it's probably like they trust me 100%. And if they didn't, I wouldn't be able to do anything.
Right. You'd always be second guessing.
Well, yeah, right. Or even I would be running things up the ladder, and we'd miss opportunities if we didn't react quick enough. So there's a lot of trust. Which I'm immensely grateful for. And to be honest, like that crew is probably the best crew I've ever worked with in my life. There's so much like mutual admiration and respect that we're always bouncing ideas off each other, and they're very creative too. So there's a bunch of stuff which is difficult, but like when we're able to do things, it's so worth it. So it's like it's just a lot of fun to be there and work with that team.
Tell me about the crew a little bit. Like, so are you like leading a team, or who are you talking about there?
Sure. So I work with some of basically directly. I'm the only person who runs the social media. So everything that account does on Twitter, on Instagram, it's all me.
Yeah.
But I have several bosses, a category manager, I don't even know if I can share names, but but I have a category. I have a manager that I report into, and then two other managers. One's responsible for consoles, the other is for software.
Oh, okay. That kind of
gives direct. It's like a direct line. Yeah.
That's awesome. Let me talk to me about like the scene though. Like it seems like, I don't know, like maybe even 5 years ago, but certainly not 10 years ago. Like the notion of like leveraging social media to connect with various audiences, maybe even customers, was like nobody knew how to do it. And now this is a thing. Like the fact that this is a career path for people, I find to be fascinating, and I'm so grateful for it because I've been on Twitter since it was initiated, and it was like I was kind of in college at the time, and things were really just shifting, especially in the retail world, when everybody's looking to social media to go like, what is this? And now it seems like that time has really shifted. Everybody kind of seems to know, or at least maybe demonstrate that they seem to know what to do with social media. Talk to me about like the scene now. Like this is where you can get a job. This is where you can represent like big organizations, and maybe talk to me about like maybe who inspires you on that scene, in the gaming scene on Twitter from a corporate standpoint.
Sure. Well, it's interesting, right? Because like when you think about it, when I was growing up, like if you wanted to market something, you would like, you got a Super Bowl commercial, because that was your, that's the audience that was already pre-existing. You bought into that audience. But now, if you're like, people watch the Super Bowl, commercials are still a thing, but like everything is vying for everybody's attention all the time. So it's tough. And in order to basically stand out, I think companies have elected to essentially build their own platform on platforms that people are on.
Yeah.
So Twitter, for example, is one that would require a significantly different strategy than like Instagram. There's some crossover, but like primarily it's like Twitter would be something that you focus on to make like a personality for the account. So like, and we're not the only ones doing it. Like we would, like, for example, what I've done is I've attached like a very 90s heavy focus for the Walmart account, which speaks to our primary demographic, because people look at that and be like, oh man, I remember Banjo-Kazooie. I love Banjo-Kazooie. I love Banjo-Kazooie because I was a 90s gamer. So I like all those IPs that there's something that you can work with, because there's people talking about it all the time. People want a new game. People want this. People love speculating on the scene. So instead of having an account that just talks at gamers, I thought it'd be very beneficial to have an account that talks to them. You know, so if there's a rumor like, oh man, GoldenEye's coming back, it's like, okay, well, we can tap into that because you know, like we can kind of poke at it a little bit, or we can reference it because then people want to talk about it. And that's not breaking embargo, because I don't know if that's gonna happen, but we can be part of that conversation. You know,
what a fascinating space to be in, because you probably do know some things, but like you wouldn't be able to act upon them, so you kind of act along with the audience on that side.
Yeah. So I mean, there was one instance where I know some, like for sure I definitely get the heads up on some things, but if we're being quiet about that, there's probably, you know, like we're just not going to engage with it. We don't engage with everything, but it's probably just not worth it. It's not in our interest to violate vendors' terms. So but no, like we do try to remain topical and talk about things that are fun. Like Glover got announced, so it's like, well, what 90s platform is next? Is it Gex? Like, you know, like who knows? So like,
and how does that go? I feel like this is something that, you know, I have a marketing background, but it's a completely different kind of background. It wouldn't really equip me in this area, I don't think. But one thing that I really take away is just this notion of a target audience, this notion that you can't be everything to everybody. Does that ring true? You kind of talked about like adopting almost like a persona or personality with this account. Does that mean that you can't be everything to everybody, or how does that kind of work in the messaging that you would deliver from a Walmart perspective, which seems like it would speak to everybody? I'm actually a little bit surprised to see like that it has adopted this more like 90s scenario, because that means there's a focus behind it, which actually surprised me, but it shouldn't. Like that's how it should be done.
Yeah. So that's a focus that we apply to it, but there are external elements of the account that stand out, right? So like Elden Ring is not a 90s game, but we have to promote it. We want to sell it. So like there are different strategies for different things like that. And we do work with modern titles as well to remain topical.
Sure.
So
well, and it's just like us, like 90s kids growing up with 90s stuff. Like I still play Elden Ring. Like I'm still a gamer. There's still things that are kind of like still kind of there. I think that's fascinating, man.
Yeah, it's a matter of like not every week has an Elden Ring. You know, when Elden Ring's coming out, there's so much time in between like major releases like that. Less so this year, but when there's nothing going on, you need to be doing something.
Yeah. So how do you tackle that when, like, because right now I feel like, man, I don't know that I've experienced quite anything like this in a long time, where like, and I keep buying games. Like, I don't know what the heck is the matter with me. I'm like literally looking at my stack of games piling up. I'm like, what am I doing? Just like not like, how about I just don't buy this one? You know, just maybe I skip on this one, but
tough.
I can't.
It's tough. Yeah. I know. Yeah, you don't. Well, I get mad FOMO too.
Yeah,
like, I gotta have, like, I feel like I need to have this, or I'm missing out on, you know, like a pillar of the industry or some big event, you know.
Yeah, so and it ties in with your. So you have basically the interesting position that you're like. I gather this is maybe your primary hobby, like gaming being your primary hobby, or is there something else that kind of takes precedent in your free time, in your spare time?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to diversify a bit because I think it's not great to be all in on one thing. So I'm a big like Toronto Maple Leafs fan. I'm a big I've gotten back into wrestling. It is too bad.
Wrestling, yes.
Back into wrestling, which is a lot of fun, especially leading up to WrestleMania. Apparently, Stone Cold might be coming back to wrestle, so I'm all in on it.
I'm not tapped in on the wrestling market. I was like probably a lot of people back in the late 90s, early 2000s, like just Attitude Era all the time. Growing up with that. And so I see like little flickers of that coming back every once in a while. Like this guy's going over here and appearing here. Like what's going on in wrestling world right now?
Oh man,
that has you excited.
Well, I mean, like if the rumors are true and Stone Cold's coming back for another match after 19 years or whatever it's been, it's like okay. Yeah. Well, I just saw Sting
like flying again. He's like, what is he, 60 some odd years old? Like I guess anything is possible.
He's wrestling. Yeah, he's wrestling in AEW, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like everybody's like around doing something. Edge is back. He's wrestling at WrestleMania. Like anything like that is really cool. And like Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, I think are like some of the best modern day. Like I love them.
Yeah. how are these guys sticking around? This has got to be one of the most punishing. Like, all I knew about wrestling is it's so punishing and like grueling and like terrible on the bodies. And then you got these guys wrestling into their 60s.
Oh,
you know, it's like
I have no idea.
It's not a thing. You know.
Yeah, I think the only reason that Stone Cold can come back is because he, you know, stepped away 20 years ago and was able to stay in shape and not have to do it for 20 years of just wasting your body or whatever. And
yeah.
Edge was off for 10 years because he had a neck injury, and then he was able to come back. Like,
who didn't have a neck injury?
Yeah, right. Stone Cold broke his neck.
Yeah, exactly. I was just listening to. There's been clips appearing of Stone Cold's podcast or podcasts that he's been on. That's been kind of like dominating my YouTube algorithm over the last little while. So that's been kind of fun, and it seems like just like. YouTube is kind of freaky in that sense. Like, how does it know that that's what I want to listen to? I haven't shown any interest in wrestling, like at all. It's not like I'm searching for anything. And then I guess it just knows how old I am, and that there's a chance that I like Stone Cold resonates with me.
Yeah, and I think your device like can pick up on what you're saying too, right?
Literally,
so which is so they're just like
it's listening right
about
now.
Something enough, yeah, right? Yes, probably talking about wrestling, so you'll probably get a ton of more ads, and maybe an Elden Ring ad will pop up. So
that's true. Well, that seems to be the case in anyway. Like, I'm just going to see Elden Ring. Oddly enough, I said I'm buying all these games. That's the one that I didn't buy so far.
So what kept you away from it?
It's just too many. Like, I feel like
too many, or is it just not your cup of tea?
Too many. No, I do want to try it. I really do. I do want to try it, but for whatever reason, I'm like, I'll wait on this one. And it's like the only one. It really is like Triangle Strategy and Gran Turismo 7 I just picked up, and I'm playing Cyberpunk and Horizon all at the same time, and there's a Kirby demo out, and like there's just so much out right now. And so I look at Elden Ring, I go, I guess I'll save that $80 for now. Like, that's
man.
What discipline?
It's like the highest rated game in the past,
dude.
Like however long.
No,
I'm not a Souls guy at all, but I saw that and I was like, okay, here's my money. Like, let's go.
No, you're actually like talking me into it because I don't
mean to make you part with your money. I'm just
I think I'm going to be there. I also just upgraded my PC as well, so I have a capable computer and I could save some money. You know, that's where I really get into it, where I go, I can't afford not to buy it. It's 20% off on like Green Man Gaming. Like, yes, please.
Let's can't afford not to buy it. Yeah.
Oh my, it's so stupid.
I rock that same mentality for so much too.
there's like a humble
this
bundle
won't break
right
me.
now.
If this breaks me, I have bigger problems, right? Like that's
exactly. But then how do you maintain a diversified kind of nerd portfolio? You know, how do you make sure that you stay on top of everything? Do you find that it's like stressful to stay on top of everything, or do you just kind of you go with the flow and as long as you're doing something you enjoy, like that's a good space?
It wasn't so hard when I was like doing a lot of the editing stuff, because like when I was editing Screen Rant, because it was part of the job. So I could do that for a few hours. I see every major news piece that comes in. I edit a few pieces. Maybe I contribute a few of my own, and then I can unplug.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, now I'm like seeking it out and trying to always remain topical, which can spill over into your personal life sometimes. And that's like, okay, I got to actually take a break or step away. So this past weekend was my birthday. So I was like, I just need to like get off the internet and try to relax a bit.
Yeah. I saw that. Are you 31?
I'm 31 now. Yep.
Congratulations. 31. Yeah. Now into your 30s, you know, I don't know if that's different than 30. How are you with that?
I'm okay. Yeah. I feel like not too much hasn't changed. I was incredibly tired last night. I was falling asleep at like 8 p.m. So I was, it was a good weekend. It was a very good weekend. Yeah. And it's nice because I was able to actually celebrate it a bit.
Oh yeah. What did you do?
I went to medieval times with a few
Yes,
of my friends.
You did, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a blast. Like,
that's
and it's
amazing.
the same sort of mentality as wrestling, where you know it's not real.
Yep.
But you just got to get way too into it. Got to have a couple beers. It's so much fun.
Yeah. I don't think I realized that it's in Toronto. There's a medieval times like in Toronto.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, like right there, right next to Exhibition Place.
Oh, you know, I think I did know this, and right now Ryan Turford is yelling at me because he probably pointed it out to me as we walked by when I was there for Fan Expo. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Have you been like many times before? Like, that's the one thing I'm kind of glad that it's not like in my city, because it's always like a vacation kind of experience for me, and just kind of like adds on to the thing. Like, does it ever does it ever get old? Like, do you go often? Like, is it a birthday thing? How do you?
I have gone for like 2 of my past birthdays before this one, so I have done it a few times. But like, I always get to the date and my birthday's coming up. It's like, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to have too many beers and go to medieval times. Like,
yes, you do.
It's so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it, man. I'm so happy about that. That's great. I want to jump back, if it's okay, to like kind of the social scene right now. Sure. And I definitely look to, especially you guys in Canada. I honestly don't know if there's really too much else going on the sort of like corporate gaming front, if that can be so cold to say it like that. But, you know, certainly I think of Walmart Canada just like leading the way. I think Best Buy's got something pretty decent going on over there. But I also look at like Xbox. I can't help to look at what Xbox is doing with their social team. And I'm not sure, I kind of wanted to throw it to you and to ask you about, like, who do you look to in terms of the big icons in the industry? Like, who's doing it right? Like, who do you look to as kind of who gets it in as opposed to like kind of not? Like, how are big brands connecting with their audiences in a good way?
Yeah, well, I think Xbox is like creme de la creme. Like, I think they knock it out of the park, and they're so smart, and they have such a good team. Like, I have nothing but respect for like Stein and Mike Robel, and like, just those guys are just so good at what they do. Yeah,
man. So is it like a 24-hour kind of deal though? Like, there was a couple instances, especially when the Series S was leaked, and it's like, I kind of got this maybe some of us did, just because it's so public, it's the internet. And I don't think that I really realized how potentially 24/7 a job like that could be. And is that the case for maybe just for Xbox? Maybe it's just because they were launching something. Do you ever get a sense of you kind of need to be on and available at all times just to make sure you can take advantage of whoever knows what could come up at any time? Like maybe a leak on a certain website, maybe you need to kind of address? Like,
yeah, so especially for Xbox, like a global brand like that would have stuff that pops up. Stuff would pop up that they have to address immediately. So definitely, like they're going to be tapped in all the time. There are elements of what we do that could lead to something like that, or there could be something where it's like, people, you know, there was a shipping delay in this, a global shipping delay, and we have to send out a message. You know, we just got this down the pipe. Can you send it out, Riley? Like, if there's something like that, like I do have to be reactionary. But they're also like it's like the people who I work with are not like, you know, cracking the whip or anything like that. Like, they're very understanding of personal like things going on and stuff like that. And I have altered my schedule to be on for like midnight launches and stuff like that. Right. When we restock like a PS5 and stuff like that. So no, I like definitely like when you're tapped into that level and trying to remain topical and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. Like you're pretty much on all the time.
That's why. And you bring up the launch of the PS, or I say launch, we're a year and a half in. Have you like, did you anticipate that we would be still talking about trying to get a console at this stage? Like, still, now we're a year and a half in, like I still look at these tweets going out, these where everybody's just really trying to snag one whenever they can, and it makes me think that we're in, you know, 2020, that we're in November of 2020, and we're a year and a half out of that. It's not even close. You know, like I really, especially with like the pandemic and everything, just messing with my mind on like, where are we and what's the date? Now we have this thing of it feels like launch territory for a console, and it's not. Like, these consoles have been out for a long time. So yeah, it's kind of like extended how long you're in that mode for, maybe on the social front.
Yeah, well, yeah, the problem is like they can't make enough of them. Yeah. So it's like it was never something I had anticipate as the social guy. It's, you know, like I'm just kind of like looking what's immediately ahead of me and preparing for that. But I didn't realize how bad the chip shortage was.
Yeah.
And I didn't think we'd still be stuck in it. Yeah.
You know,
I definitely
you should know.
It, but but I didn't realize how bad it was or how long it would last.
Yeah, man. Holy cow. Well, man, it's just wild. I feel like maybe even like the games are kind of hitting their stride too. Like, I don't know if you have like a favorite kind of era of games, but I feel like this is going to be one that we look back on and go like, remember the winter of 2022? Remember February 2020? Like, isn't this nuts? It's too many games, you know? Like, this might be it. I don't know. Like, do you have Do you have another era of gaming that you look back to as like, yeah, those were the days, man?
What was the year that I like 98 or 97?
Yeah, dude. Yes,
Yeah, like
yes.
that was like people still talk about how good that year was.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I like kind of predicting into the future of when it's happening in the moment. You go like, are people going to look back on this moment, this winter 2022, kind of like, you know, we do with 1997, 1998.
Yeah,
you know, when GoldenEye was in there, you know, Half-Life, Unreal on the PC side, like tons of stuff.
Pokemon, you got
my gosh,
everything coming out. It was just
yeah.
like hit after hit. I think Final Fantasy VII might have been in
97.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
That
where were you in life at about that time? Because I'm always interested to see. I have like this theory. You might be off on this here by a couple of years, but I have this kind of theory of when you are somewhere between like 12 and 14, like that will be your favorite era of gaming.
Yeah. I would have been.
I think you'd be a little younger at that point.
I would have been 6 or 7.
Look at you. Okay, so you're kind of getting into games early at that stage then.
Yeah,
like for those
I was super fortunate. My parents were like they spoiled me with that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
My dad got the Super Nintendo and like got Donkey Kong Country, and then from then on, I was like hooked.
Yeah, man, I need another Donkey Kong game in my life. You know,
well, there are like rumors that it's happening, so hopefully it pans out.
Okay, Donkey Kong confirmed. Great from.
Hey, I don't know anything about that. I just saw the rumors going around.
Of course, no, we see the same things. We see the same. Well, and like, what a year that would be too. You know, are we in a year where Kirby is going to get like a Game of the Year kind of contender? Like, it looks like Kirby and the Forgotten Lands is like, it actually looks like it's going to be good. I'm going to be playing the demo immediately after this. After we chat, I'm like, I got to get to this thing too.
The demo is a lot of fun. Actually, this is going to sound absurd, but the boss fight in that demo. It feels like an Elden Ring boss fight.
Stop.
I'm dead serious. Like the way like the boss has like big wind up like animations, and it goes through like a cycle, and then you do different attacks and stuff like that, and he'll try to counter, he'll punish you if you get too greedy. Yeah. Like it feels like an Elden Ring game. I know, it's like a Fisher Price Elden Ring game. Yeah. I'm dead serious. It's so much fun.
Price, dude, that's awesome. Well, I'm wondering too, you know, when a game is so popular and has grabbed our attention like Elden Ring has for most of us, like, do you start to see that everywhere? You know,
it's the boss baby of games. The type of.
Oh my god!
Have you seen that meme?
No.
Oh, it's like the one guy who has only ever seen Boss Baby watching like the Batman. He's like, I'm getting some Boss Baby vibes from this. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome! Yeah, I got how long? It's not a very long demo, I don't think. I wanted to check it out.
It's like really 3 levels. Yeah, you could probably clear it in like 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I love a good demo. That's kind of.
And then I end up like you get a code for the full game. Not a code for the full game, but you get codes to unlock stuff in the full game.
As if I wasn't motivated already.
There you go. You got to. I mean, they might be copy and paste for everybody, but so you can probably just Google the codes, but it's worth playing and getting it. It's worth playing and getting it.
I didn't need to hear the other part. Like, I'll pretend like it was just for me, and this is a personalized code, even though
you need this.
It's kind of like what Nintendo does with like your birthday. And it's like, happy birthday. Here's a code for a picture, for a background or something like that. And it's like, well, thank you. Like, this is
neat.
It's a JPEG. I could save this and share it easily on the internet. It's the whole NFT thing, but that's a whole other conversation. Is Nintendo kind of at the center for you? Or is it kind of, are you kind of playing all things?
I play everything. I play a lot of Xbox. Like, I got really into Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
I've trailed off a little bit just because so many other games are coming up now.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've kind of like jumbled a bit, like some of the release stuff. I think just clarity would have been nicer, but like that, I feel like technically that game is so good.
Yeah.
I really do love it. It was my game of the year last year.
Me too. Yeah. And it's funny because I've been thinking a lot about that. You know, you make this declaration, especially if you're making any sort of content, and you make these declarations. This is my game of the year. And then you kind of get a couple months separated from it because it was also like I was aware that that maybe there was a recency impact there where I had just played it. I was really excited about it. I had been looking forward to it. So it's my game of the year. And maybe there's some sort of like weird risk there. Here we are a couple months afterwards, and like no sign of campaign co-op, and who knows what these next seasons are going to look like. It's a very strange thing that's happening with Halo, and how quickly the tides turn on the reception and the community engagement on that front as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I hope they get it figured out.
Me too.
You know, I really want to play more of it, and I will. They have a new event dropping tomorrow, and I'll definitely dive into that. You know, it's to me, it's an excuse to play it again, and I played a little bit of it for when Fractured Tenrai came back. So you know, I hope they keep doing cool stuff and getting some of the other things out there. Maybe getting some cool crossover armors and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like it'd be cool to have like the Doomslayer armor and stuff like that in there. Like, why not? Dude. You own the character now.
I'm telling you, man, like at a certain point, Xbox, I really hope that they just kind of leverage owning all of these things I don't necessarily need them to have like a Smash thing, but just acknowledge it. Just like you can do it, like where can some of these properties show up in the various games, Well,
I feel like they're doing the right thing or doing the clever thing by just like putting their characters in Smash. It's like, here's Banjo-Kazooie, here's Minecraft Steve, Doomslayer's a Mii costume, Skyrim, Dovahkiin, like, there you go, Vault Boy. So, like they're all in Smash, so if they can keep writing that, then they don't really need to put any money into making their own, which would, I mean, we saw how that went with Sony. So I'm always very hesitant to think that might work with someone else.
It's funny you say that too. Yeah, I agree. It seemed like that would be the only other time that you would see that, but Nickelodeon had one. And what is it, Warner Brothers coming out with another one as well?
Multiverses,
yeah. Like so now that they're done Smash and not adding anything to it, now the copycats will rise.
Yeah,
we'll kind of see how that goes. Yeah,
it'll be interesting. I feel like nothing quite had the hype of Smash Brothers. Like that was such a, like, I think Minecraft Steve broke Twitter.
Seriously,
yeah, like the whole thing went down. And then like Sora was trending for like months after the reveal. Like, I don't know. I've never seen a marketing machine like that. And if that doesn't entice people to like support the platform, I don't know what does.
What do you think? Like, maybe the numbers might suggest one thing, but like now, what do they do without Smash? Like as being like Nintendo. I mean, like what do you think we can expect from Nintendo over the next couple of years, and how do they stay relevant without this? That was such a given. It was such a no-brainer. You're gonna have a direct. So like, who's the next character gonna be? Who's coming to Smash? Like that's kind of gone now.
I don't know why they cut it off. To be honest,
yeah,
like,
I
there
agree.
Must be some reason. There must be some reason.
I mean, is it Sakurai? People think like they always talk about Sakurai as if like he's the one person working on that game. You know what I mean? Maybe
right? Yeah. Well, yeah. It's so interesting because like that whole IP is tangled up in like it's being made by Namco Bandai, and then Sakurai is a third-party producer overseeing it all. That they've hired his company to get involved. So.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of it is like, well, how actually, like, how much money are they actually sinking into it in the first place? Because none of that's cheap, and then DLC only has like a shelf life for so long. Yeah, my hope or my thought is that maybe I thought there were some like internet issues with that game, like it doesn't have rollback or anything like that. Like maybe it makes sense to like pull the plug on it. Sora's the swan song. Like you get your good finish, and then you can bring that whole experience back, maybe a deluxe port on the next console or something like that, with like rollback netcode and really redo all the online. And
that's kind of required at this point, don't you think? Like for Smash, like they can't do another one without rollback.
Yeah, well, it's tough because like I feel like rollback doesn't work on the current Switch too well.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you see a lot of fighting games that have Switch ports, and then it just doesn't include rollback. And the reason that Sakurai didn't try to, or he talked about rollback for Smash Brothers, the reason they didn't implement it was because so many people also play it in handheld.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so it has to have one. Yeah, so it kind of doesn't really work. So I mean, maybe a Switch successor could rectify that, but I guess we'll see in time. There's so many rumors of that too.
The Switch successor, I don't even know. On our other show, the Nintendo Drive, we're just not even talking about it. Like, no matter how legitimate like the rumors might seem, it's like
Bloomberg reported on it.
I don't care.
So the weirdest thing.
Dude, I know. Like that's what.
And then it was the OLED or the OLED, and it was like, what? Like, okay,
man. That was a moment for me. We get emails all the time from PR and everything like that. And that was one that I will remember forever. And it's so stupid, like remembering it for the wrong reasons, because it had been rumored for so long. And I do the dumb thing where I roll out of bed and I grab my phone and check my email. And there it is. It's like, Nintendo is pleased to announce the Nintendo Switch OLED version. I'm like, And I actually said out loud, they did it. Oh my gosh, it's here. And I'm scrolling through, and I must have read that email like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, I don't see anything about 4K. Like, you have to remember what the rumors were, and it's like, it's just the screen. Okay, Nintendo, like I see what you're doing here, but I'm very confused. And that was one of the more memorable like PR emails I think I got in my experience in reading it, because they kind of come all the time. But here we are. We got Switch Lite, we got a regular Switch, we got an OLED edition or whatever the heck it's called. Yeah, great naming conventions.
I mean, like it's only a matter of time, I would assume. But
I think so. I mean, it's kind of inevitable. You have to have a more powerful one, but I don't know. Like, I don't think that I expected the Switch to be on its like in its core hardware configuration quite this long, and with like really no signs other than these weird rumors. Like, there really is no official sign that they're like looking to upgrade.
I think
or
the
offer
only
something
thing,
new.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I like, Nintendo themselves said like, hey, we're trying to grow our user base, which is at 98 million active yearly users or something, which is great. Like that's those are active yearly users, like individuals that aren't buying second consoles and stuff like that. So that's great, but they want to grow that because they want to grow their online service and then bring it over to what I'm imagining is the Pro or the whatever successor they have lined up.
Yeah. What do you think about, like, I feel like Nintendo just hasn't really demonstrated like a nod to backwards compatibility lately. Yeah. And I feel like that's the one thing, like, be careful what you wish for. It's like, yeah, it'd be great to have new hardware, but is it just an assumption that we're making because everybody else seems to be doing great work with backwards compatibility? Like, is that a given with Nintendo? I don't see why it wouldn't. We've seen them maybe a good example would be the handhelds. Really, they did a pretty decent job with it until they went from like Game Boy to, I guess, DS really. But you could stick a Game Boy game in a GBA. It looks a little bit weird. It still work though.
Yeah, right. I think so, because this the expansion pack kind of in their online service sort of cements that they have to.
I hope so. Yeah.
Because some of the big selling features are like, oh, you got the Animal Crossing DLC and the Mario Kart DLC, and all that stuff just dissipates if what would carry through, like the N64 games.
I mean, this is all stuff that makes sense to me. Yeah,
like it all has to.
Nintendo sometime will Nintendo, and we'll question it later, and somehow we'll just be buying it all over again. But
the hardest gap that they're facing is like the hardware gimmicks have now boxed in their software.
Yes, exactly. So
it's like, I don't know how you get a DS game to run on Switch without or like in a way that is intended to, or like it won't be true to it. But I mean, I'm sure they could figure it out, but it's just kind of, it's tough for sure.
I miss the days where you could get a Super Game Boy. You just have a Super Nintendo cartridge that's got a little slot, and you throw a Game Boy into it. And now you got Game Boy on your TV. Like, whatever happened to that? Yeah. Like, Nintendo, they've solved this before. Let's do this, man. I would love that. Now you kind of have like those retro, what are those called? Like the retro something. Ryan Turford again, screaming at me right now. There's a bunch of different like systems that you can punch. You can actually plug in old cartridges and stuff like that.
Retron,
okay. The Retron.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Stuff like that. But I'd like it first party. I don't want to use those controllers. I was really excited even with the mini, like the NES and the Super Nintendo minis that they had the bundled in games, and it's like I just want the controllers. Those are solid controllers. I want first party Nintendo made from Nintendo controllers.
Yeah, right. I mean, like nobody liked the kid at a sleepover that rolled up with a Mad Catz.
I know.
I know.
So it's just
like lit up in the
no. It's just a sad thing that like we've all been there. It's like, here, use this one. Like, oh, really? It's got like a turbo switch on it. Like,
I don't know about that.
What is this? I don't know.
It rumbles so hard, it's shaking my hands raw. Like, this is not
for
me. Yeah, it's like flashing lights in my eyes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My kids have these tiny little Switch controllers from I was gonna say EB Games, from GameStop, and they're actually great. Like they're because they're so small, they can actually use these controllers, and they get them on sale. So I could see, for like, my kids are 3 and 5, and they ain't touching my stuff, man. Like, I don't want. I'm just trying to get them to get used to washing their hands before playing games. Like, that's a thing in this house, because oh god, like there's just no awareness of how sticky the hands are. So keep your hands off the controllers until they're clean.
Yeah, I go to my nieces and nephews' place all the time, and they do that. But they're really good now at washing their hands and
that's good.
all that stuff. So
Nice.
I play a lot of games with my nephew. He's big into like Plants vs Zombies and stuff.
Dude, what a good game! Actually, such a good game.
Yeah, right. And I feel like it's like totally okay to play that with him.
I think so. Yeah, definitely. We finally got our PS5, and it's going to be primarily my wife is really excited to be playing it, and so I got her all set up, and she's looking at her game library and games to install, and she's like, okay, yeah, Fallout 4, it's got to be there. She's a big Fallout 4 fan, and she goes, and Plants vs Zombies, and I'm like, yeah, this is what we have, our brand new PS5, all the teraflops in the world, all the power. Got to make sure that we got Plants vs Zombies on there, but. It's a good game, man. I can't falter for it.
It is a lot of fun. EA did a really good job with that game, actually.
Who knew? Yeah, not everything is trash out of that camp. I want to ask you about something I saw on your Twitter profile, and I want to get it right. I want to ask, like, what is a gaming content strategist?
Sure.
And how did you become one?
So basically, I mean, it's a word made up to sound really nice, I guess.
Nice, yeah.
Okay. No, but I mean, like, I guess what my role would be is like. What we do is we would create strategies around certain content for like Walmart, for TCL. I will do that for Screen Rant would be a lot of planning and stuff like that. So when you look at like the content you put out, it's like, what is the strategy? What's the intent?
Yeah.
How do we execute that? So I guess that's what I would call a gaming content strategist is
okay.
Like something that speaks to a gaming audience and like, how's it going to be the most successful it can?
Yeah. It's funny. That is not what I was expecting. I kind of like made up an answer in my mind, and I was thinking actually on kind of my side of the aisle rather than working with the brands. But I think that that's really interesting. I thought that you were going to say something like creating content, like when I think about like podcasts and YouTube and things like that. But there's a whole other side to this that I think is really interesting just talking to you, that learning more about that, because when my world is so centered around podcasts and what I do and all my friends and what we're all doing on this side, it's like, well, there's another entire world out there related to creating content, engaging with various audiences. And that's kind of the space that I think that you occupy, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think that you would focus on like podcasts and stuff like that, like where I would focus on social content and written content.
Yeah.
So that would be that's probably where I shine most.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself like going in the future, man? Like, and how long you've been there now? And like, yeah, where do you kind of see things going in the next maybe 5 years or so?
Jeez, I'm trying to think now. I would have started, it was like just before the pandemic. I would have been, okay. I think I've been at it for 2.5 years at Walmart now, which has been really good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, where I see myself going. I don't know. I like what I'm doing. Like I really like my team. No, CEO of Walmart Canada.
Yeah, okay. Get on it.
I know. I'm not good enough with numbers to be doing that sort of thing. I can promise you that. But I don't know. I think that I would just like to keep growing in the space I'm in, and meet people and just see what happens next. But like right now, I'm pretty content with where I'm at.
I like it. It's funny. I'm thinking about CEOs, and it's like we talk about the Phil Spencers of the world and the Reggies and everybody else, and you go, just think about like the CEO of the company any of us work at. And in your case in particular, it's like just an absolutely giant company. How busy are these people? And the things that we expect them to do in the gaming world is kind of wild. And they play the role, man. Like they do it. They're out there with us. But it's a tall order, I think, to ask an executive of companies and brands these large to be one of us too. So it's great that when they are able to do it. But I don't know that we recognize in general like what that task is like, and what a person in a CEO kind of position, like what their day to day is like. It's enormous. Yeah, right. It's a huge job.
Yeah, like, well, I don't know. Like, definitely, you're 100% right. I think that generally speaking, like different people shine well in different areas too.
Yeah.
Like I think Stein for Xbox is like so good at what he does. I don't think Phil Spencer could go in there and replace him.
Yeah.
What I mean? Like, I don't think he'd be good on social. I think he does well where he is.
Yeah.
I think they both do. Like, I think that Stein is a good social guy, and Phil Spencer's a really good leader, and a really good, not that Stein isn't a good leader, but just like really good, whatever his title is now. Is he president of gaming at Microsoft?
I know. I liked head of Xbox. It was very easy.
He was head of Xbox. He was vice president of gaming. Now he's like president or CEO of Microsoft Gaming or some whatever tagline he has now. He's doing a great job. I think that guy is just the best.
Yeah,
I met him once. I have met him once.
Me too. He signed. We had a ID at Xbox skateboard, and he signed a couple of those for us back at E3, and gosh, that was 2019. That was the last time anything's happened. Yeah, very brief, but and it was also it was kind of like a meet and greet that he was doing at Fan Expo. So cool. It was kind of that. How did you meet him?
I went to an event for Game Rant in San Diego.
Oh, nice.
And we went to there was basically they took all the international media out to a bar the day before.
Yeah.
We were hanging out there, and they're like, so we have a treat for everyone. Like, Phil Spencer's going to come.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow. Like, okay. So he came over, and basically what happens is you have different media from different nations, right? So Canada, US are hanging out together, and then you have a group from Sweden, and then a group from Russia,
awesome.
And all over the place. So he we're all talking or whatever, and he went in, and his assistant handed him a glass of red wine, and he chatted with one group, and he held onto that glass of red wine till he finished it halfway through the second group. And then I don't think he even said anything. I think he handed the glass back, assistant took it and gave him water.
Yeah.
And he kept talking to that group, and then he came over to us. He's like, yeah, so what do you think about Halo and all this stuff? And he was just so approachable, so kind, and I think genuinely loved talking about it.
Yeah.
So I can say nothing but good things about that. I do have one autograph thing though that I got because I was like, I gotta do it. I met Shigeru Miyamoto, and I got him to sign a copy of Super Mario 64.
I love it.
Yeah.
How did you meet him, and where did that happen?
That was at E3. I had a 45-minute interview with him.
You had 45 minutes with Shigeru Miyamoto?
It was just
Holy
me.
cow.
Yeah. So it was 45 minutes, just me and Shigeru Miyamoto, PR head at Nintendo Canada, and then Bill Trinan.
Yeah. Oh man, everybody loves Bill. That's got to be up there in just life moments that you kind of have in your brain.
Huge.
No doubt.
That was wild. It was so surreal to me. At one point, near the end of the interview, I was like, "Do you ever sit back and think, hey, I created Super Mario and Legend of Zelda and
that's
Donkey
a good
Kong,
question.
All these things?"
Yeah.
And the only thing he said was "I just feel lucky that we found those ideas first."
Yeah.
It was
say it. Yeah.
I was like, wow, you don't really think about it that way, but the way he's saying is he doesn't I'm sure he feels pride about creating those things, but he's more just almost a sense of relief.
Yeah.
I would say saying thank God we did this before anyone else did, because
yes.
So I was like, wow, that's quite the mindset.
It is, and you know why I think if I could extrapolate on that maybe a little bit is that those brands, they seem like they were just meant to be. Mario is meant to be here for us to to be in video games, and even to represent it in the way that it does. Those, I just don't know that I can imagine gaming without Mario and Link and the Zelda universe and everything. It was almost inevitable. Is maybe what he's saying there is somebody was gonna create it, whether it was him or somebody else, because they're that important to video games. Then he just says it in a way that doesn't sound that blowhardy, but I think that about those brands, that they're that important, that they are almost necessary, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And it was just very interesting to hear that, and because he made the arcade hit Donkey Kong, and then rolled over to consoles and was no problem. It was all right.
Holy cow. How did you approach that? It's something that obviously is scheduled well in advance, or maybe not. Maybe it's just because of E3, the madness and everything, but you must have known about it at least 5 minutes before. How did you approach such a big moment that could probably, test the fortitude of lesser men, if I could say that. How did you approach it?
I very I knew about it. I would say probably 2 or 3 weeks before E3.
Yeah.
They extended the offer to me. I was like, okay, so I have to prepare for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I did, and I had a ton of questions lined up. And I remember hanging in the E3 press room and just watching the clock.
Yeah.
Because I had, I'd done the work, I had everything, and I don't usually get nervous before an interview like that, but I was like getting really nervous about it.
If there's one to be nervous for, like that's kind of allowed.
Yeah, right. I was like very, very like, oh man, like I really am. I really hope I don't mess this up. But it went really well. I used all of my time, so it felt good, and I got some good stuff out of it. But he confirmed to me that Pikmin 4 was still being developed. So we haven't seen it yet, but
It wasn't Hey Pikmin in disguise or anything like that. Like it was a legit actual Pikmin 4.
I think right. Well, I mean, based on the verbiage he used, he called it Pikmin 4. So
that's so funny. Oh
I
my
don't know
gosh.
if that's real now, but it was at the time.
Nintendo is having just one of those years. I'm so glad that you got to meet some of these people. It's such an interesting space, and if you're not in the video game kind of space at all, if it's not kind of the center of your life, you might go like who cares about like the head of Xbox, or who cares about some of these people? It's like they're a big deal, man. Like they are responsible for a lot of our entertainment and a lot of, in some of our cases, our livelihoods. Like this is a big industry, and I love that there are people like that we can look forward to meeting and having those moments in our lives. I think that's a big deal, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's cool to have like the opportunity, to, as you said, to like meet them, because like I don't know, like if I've met Phil, I've met Shigeru Miyamoto, like maybe Sakurai.
Yeah,
I'd love to meet Sakurai. The guy made Kirby when he was 19 years old. Like I would love to meet that guy. But I did get to ask him a question once at E3.
Yeah,
but it was not like an interview or anything like that. But he was like very funny and very.
Where'd you get your shirt?
I think I asked him about because it was during the Smash Wii U, and they separated Zelda and Sheik as characters. I was like, why'd you do that? And was it because of the tech capabilities of the 3DS? And he's like,
good question.
Yes, that is why we did it. I was like, okay.
I wonder if you just gave him the answer. He's like, yeah, that was it. That's why. I wonder if that's
pretty much. It was like, was it because of that? And he's like, yeah, essentially that's what it was.
That's so cool, man. I love it. Well, I hope we can kind of like, get back to having live events maybe soon. Like, I don't want to jinx or anything, but like maybe things are happening. And especially, like I said, like, especially where you are, it just seemed like a way of life, like every other week.
Definitely.
It's like there's something happening in the Toronto area for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, like X18 and those sorts of events that Xbox put on the best events, I think.
Yeah. Well, I gotta make my way over to Toronto. I was there for Fan Expo, and it just seems like every time I turn a corner on the internet, it's another awesome person coming out of this Toronto gaming scene. And so it's a place to be, man. It really is. So I can understand like the need and the want for these events to come back, because it's a great crowd, man. Really great people that I think represent gaming in Canada. And I've really enjoyed even just sitting down, chatting with you tonight for an hour or so. Like this has been a long time coming, I think, but I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks. No, I really appreciate you having me. I'm always happy to talk about games and work and marketing and all that. It's always fun.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because I don't know that everybody is quite stoked to talk about work, but I think your profession's at least relevant in this perspective. And yeah, it definitely walks that line of, is it something that you want to be doing and thinking about and talking about all the time? And I'm glad that you seem to be a good fit for it, because it kind of requires you to do that for sure.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And thanks again. Man. Yeah, thanks for having me. It was it's always fun to chat about it.
Very cool. Well, I'll have all the links in the show notes, but do you want to let anybody know like where they can find you on the internet, where they can say hi or reach out to you or anything like that?
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at the Riley Little. Pretty much just hang out there, and then I run Walmart Canada Gaming, which is Walmart CA Gaming on Twitter.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, yeah, man. Thanks for your late evening, and I won't keep you any longer than this, but I really appreciate you being on the show tonight, dude.
Yeah, no worries. Like anytime, honestly, Sean. It's nice. Always nice to chat.
Thank you to Riley for hanging out with me. This was actually a couple weeks ago at this point. Recorded it ahead of time, and then I was sick for a little bit, which I've gone in already. I've already said too much. Let's be honest. So thank you to Riley for hanging out and being open about the journey and his experience. I think that was awesome, man. I've got another one coming up for you guys very soon. Court Lalonde and I recorded on Friday night. 2+ hours, man. It's another one of these things. This is the thing. I think I might be shifting my recording time. Usually I would do it on a Monday, which kind of limits it, and maybe that was on purpose. Like let's keep the conversation to about an hour, which this one was. But Friday nights, it's like I don't got to go to work tomorrow. Let's hang out and chit chat. That's what happened with Andros. I think that was a Saturday night a couple weeks ago. So some changes, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll see what you guys think about it. You never know what you're going to get on We the GamerCast. But there you go. Make sure you guys follow the Riley Little on Twitter as I line up our clip this week. And actually, even before I do that, as if we need any other reminders that every day is a gift, which it is. And of course, Taylor Hawkins, the drummer from Foo Fighters, passed away this past week. He was 50. So I've been listening to a lot of Foo Fighters. I adore this band, man. Love Dave Grohl, love the whole band. Been listening to them for a long time. Seen them in concert a ton, from some of the worst seats in the house to some of the best. Just really tragic, man. Just really sad. I'm thinking about Dave Grohl, and I've seen a lot of commentary about it. Great Dave Grohl, the lead singer, the front man for the band. He was also the drummer in Nirvana, so he was good friends with Kurt Cobain, now Taylor Hawkins. And of course, I guess me thinking about losses, and I like I said, I see a lot of commentary going on about Dave Grohl and what he's going to do now. And I think he's going to do what he does all the time. I think he'll take his time. He'll do some reflecting. But I think he'll be back. I don't know if Foo Fighters will be back, but I think he'll be back doing something. And I can't wait to see what he does next, because I know that he's got a lot of heart and a lot to share still. So I'm thinking about Dave Grohl. Now, this clip with Bobby, thanks to Josh Stapleton, this clip with Bobby, we're going to talk a little bit about, this is before the Switch comes out. This is 2016, early 2017. And Bobby's talking all about what's going to come out. And we're talking about like a Super Mario 3D All-Stars way before it was ever announced. So please enjoy this. Please follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants. If you like the show, patreon.com/YumiCapri. Now, here's a clip from the early days of If We Ran Nintendo with me and Bobby Pauls.
Stop. Slow down. Okay.
I am slowing down. You're the one throwing.
No, listen to me. Listen to me. Okay, let's get realistic with my list. Okay.
All right.
I'll go through with a realistic list. Okay. I was kind of putting a lot of crazy stuff. I admit. I probably overshot it.
I gotta rein you in a little bit here.
Okay, you're reining me in. All my stuff that I said day one, that stays the same. What?
Oh yeah.
You know, I feel like out of the All-Stars, you're going to get Super Mario Sunshine HD remake. Okay? The rest of the stuff you're not going to get. You may get it on a virtual console. I think we get an announcement about Metroid. I think we get Luigi's Mansion 3. That's no doubt about it. We definitely get that game. I think Kid Icarus and Punch-Out doesn't come till about year 3. All the indie games, that's day one. Mm-hmm. And then Galaxy 3, definite by the end of the 2017. The Mario Kart is probably year 2 or 3.
I'm torn on what the next 3D Mario is going to be, if it's going to be a Galaxy 3 or if it's going to be a 64-2. Like if we go back to jumping in and out of paintings.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That would be kind of cool.
I could see us going back to that for sure.
So we're going to wrap this up. We're done.
Okay.
It's over.
Well, I'm sad like always. I don't like it. I don't like it when we're done. But I guess that's it.
We could go tomorrow if you want. We can go again tomorrow. So
we need feedback from everybody. We need everybody to tell us what you guys think about this lineup. There's probably something.
There's a lot of games where I'm sure that people are going to say you're crazy, Bobby, and that's fine. I wholeheartedly expect that. But what would you want to see